Welcome to Fallout New Vegas. Today I'm trying to collect every single unique in Fallout New Vegas. So, what do I mean by this? Well, basically I'm going to be collecting every single unique you see on this list. I'm going to put it up here, and it's going to be everything you see without a DLC tag. Because if I did DLC, this would take very, very long. So if this video gets like, I don't know, like 1,000 likes, I'll do all DLC as well. But for now, we're only going to be collecting every base weapon, and the rules are going to be pretty simple. Just, I can only do damage with the unique weapons, and I have to collect all the weapons that I can. So some weapons like the Gauss rifle and the alien blaster can only be obtained if you do or don't have a Wild Wasteland. So with that being said, let's just get into it. So, I first started out in Doc Mitchell's house, of course, where we just had to do some simple character creation. So, for the character, I want to do a very well-rounded character, mostly putting points in luck and splitting between strength and agility. For my tag skills, I did melee, lockpick, and barter. Lockpick, mostly because I need 100 lockpick to get all the things I need. And for my traits, I did skilled and Wild Wasteland. Wild Wasteland because I can't get all the required uniques without it. So, I was now off to go get my uniques. The first one is actually very close by in a grave nearby Goodsprings. And to get it, I just need to go to Chet, buy a shovel, and with that, we already have our first unique after running by a lot of Cazadors. It is Chance's Knife, which is a incredibly good knife, and also another big reason as to why I put points into melee is because of how many good melee uniques there truly are. So with this, I already had a good weapon to start off the run with, and I thought hopefully it'd be smooth sailing, and yeah, everything would be done pretty quickly. But I went to go get another unique. That didn't work out. So, I ended up dying there, but I did level up on my way to New Vegas, so I put points in a lockpick and melee. Now, I also have the mod Better Perks. I didn't mention this because I thought, you know, it'd just be fine, but it's just some extra small perks that adds to the game, and it shouldn't break anything too gameplay heavy because I'm just collecting uniques. Just a quick, you know, announcement. So, with all that, I headed towards Camp McCarran after killing Cook and decided to make my way to the tops. Now, I did this because I planned on getting Maria as my next unique. Now, as you will see, that didn't really pan out. See, I go into the tops, and I did level up here, which for that I put more points into lockpick. Again, trying to get this to level 100 as quick as possible, and I picked Educated for more skill points when I level up. Now, I decided to try and gamble here, and I lost with 10 luck. Now, I could have tried killing Benny after this, but I realized I just have a knife and, like, no supplies, so I stopped by Crimson Caravan after selling all the loot I had gotten from Cook and all that, just to make some quick money. I then picked up the quest from Red Lucy, which is to get a bunch of creature eggs for the Thorn. You need to do this quest in order to get Dinner Bell, which is another unique. So I stopped by Vault 22 on the way there. Now, looking back on this, I could have gotten a unique just easily while I was here. I just didn't know it was in Vault 22 at the time when I was going through this area. So I noticed that a bit later while I was coming back towards this area. Now, I came over here to grab a keycard to access the cave area. So, while here, I just stared at this spore carrier. Now, after all that, I went over to grab the mantis eggs. I also leveled up, putting some more points into lockpick and melee weapons. So after I grabbed all of the mantis eggs, I headed out of Vault 22 and decided I'm gonna go get my second unique weapon. Now, I could have once again gotten it at Vault 22, but I didn't know it was there, so, you know, I didn't get that. So I just went back to Red Lucy, turned in those mantis eggs, and then I headed over to Harrowitz Farmstead to go get my next weapon. Now, Because I chose Wild Wasteland, I'm not going to be able to get the Gauss rifle because I looked this up and basically you can only get one or the other, even if you go to Old World Blues. So yeah, this is my second out of the 42 items I have to get. So now I officially have the Alien Blaster. Literally one of, if not the best energy weapons in the game, so really, really good addition. Now, after getting the Alien Blaster, it was time to get my third unique. Now, this unique, I have used it before, and I will tell you, this one is amazing. So, we head over to Jacobstown in this little cave, and kill a bunch of Night Stalkers, and yeah, it took me a while to find it. I was running around looking for it in a cave. When I knew where it was, it's just very hard to see where it is. I put more points at a lockpick after leveling up, and for my perk, I decided to pick Bloody Mess. Now, after a while of looking, I eventually found what I was looking for, which is the unique Super Sledge. This is really good. Okay, I mean, I don't have a ton of strength to wield it or melee weapons right now, but even still, this thing is just absolutely incredible. So this is a really good item to pick up. I then went back to Bonnie Springs to pick up my fourth unique, so we're going through this pretty quickly already. And this one was pretty easy, just had to kill the Viper Leader here, just exploding them. And then, yep, I get Love and Hate, which is my fourth item, and it's just a couple brass knuckles. I then head over to the New Vegas Medical Clinic, where I pick up some more medical supplies like stim packs and Med-X and all that. Then I head over to the Lucky 38 to grab my fifth unique, which is the Golden Gloves. And these are not a great weapon, but they are another unique, and they just knock out enemies, and it's kind of funny. So, pretty cool weapon to find. Now, while I was going through my checklist, I wanted to get all the unarmed weapons, since I was like, you know what? There aren't actually a lot more that I need. So I headed over to Camp McCarran, where this NPC, Little Buster, has a unique called the Cram Opener, which is just like a kind of like a bladed gauntlet or something. And I wanted to get it. But because I'm in Camp McCarran, even with a sneak attack, the enemies still will get alerted. So I tried killing him, but yeah, that didn't go so good. So after a lot, and I mean a lot of trying, I got a really good sneak attack on him, and yeah, everyone still became alerted in Camp McCarran, and I still died. So for now, that idea is just scrapped, and we're gonna probably come back to that. So I headed over to Vault 34 to get another unique. Now for this one, it's honestly not too hard to get. I just have to run through the vault and basically collect a bunch of key cards from some ghouls laying around and go over to terminals and unlock a bunch of doors. That's basically all I have to do. I leveled up in here, putting more points into just a lot of different skills, and I decided for my perk I was going to pick Super Slam because it would make my melee weapons do a really, really useful thing of knocking out enemies. Now, I had this special ghoul called the Overseer I had to kill. I killed him, and then I realized if I shot the turrets underneath him, it would just crash my game. So yeah, I had to run by these turrets after relaunching my game about 3 times because I realized it just keeps crashing if I shoot the turret specifically. But after all that hassle, I did find my next weapon, which was All-American, which made a pretty cool bald eagle sound when I pulled it out for the first time. And I don't know if it was bugged, but I think it only does that for the first time you ever pull it out. So I headed over back to the New Vegas Medical Clinic, where I just had to cure some rat poisoning and everything was good there. I then headed over to the Gunrunners to do a bit more of trading just to get some more ammo for this. I then headed over to normally with Wild Wasteland where a well would be. I didn't realize that you have to have Rex with you for a while, so I realized, yeah, I gotta do a lot more quests to even unlock the next unique that I wanted, so I decided to put that off for a little bit, and I was just running around and looking for some more uniques. So I went over to my next location where there was another unique in this cave. And honestly, not too bad. I cleared out all the lake lurks that were there. And yep, I got my next weapon, which was the 7th weapon. It was pushy. It's basically a, what do you call it? I think it's a displacer glove or gauntlet. It's very, very good. Even without the unarmed skill, it became a really, really good weapon. So with that, I went over to get my 8th unique, which was at the Bison Steed Hotel, which was lucky. Found in a floor safe with 75 lockpick. I got lucky, and it was, honestly, it used to be one of my favorite revolvers. Still is probably my favorite revolver, besides from the Mysterious Magnum. But I didn't really use it too much in this playthrough, just because I wanted to use the 357 for some other weapons you'll see later. I then headed over to Novak to grab my 9th weapon, which was that gun. Now, this, just like other weapons, it used the same ammo as other guns, so I didn't use it too much. But it was good to grab. I then headed over a little bit more like in Novak. I killed Old Lady Gibson just to grab the Big Boomer, which was my 10th weapon. So we're already getting pretty close, and I thought, you know what? This challenge would be done pretty quickly. Yeah, I was kind of wrong about that one. This challenge ended up taking a lot longer due to some other weapons we'll talk about. But I headed over to another cave where I would find the Rat Slayer, which is a really, really good varmint rifle. I would recommend this weapon. It honestly was way better than I thought it would be. But I then headed over towards Cottonwood Cove to grab my 12th weapon. So again, making really good headway at this point in my playthrough. I just had to unlock this gun case to grab the 12th weapon, which is the Gobi Campaign Scout Rifle. And yeah, this weapon is just absolutely amazing. With one shot, you know, if I don't miss, it will instantly just explode anyone with a sneak attack. So, really good weapon. And for my perk on my 10th level, I decided to pick up Intense Training just to try and make my Super Sledge do a bit more damage. I then went into Cottonwood Cove to grab my 13th unique, which is basically some, like, kind of brass knuckles, but not really. They're just, like, knuckles, but they're changed to be dog tags. I don't know. Pretty cool. I then went to this house just north of Nipton to grab Chopper, which was a meat cleaver. And then, after Chopper, it kind of goes for a dry streak because a lot of the other uniques are guarded by a lot of higher level enemies like Deathclaws. So, yeah, you'll see here. I just basically had to keep killing some Deathclaws, or at least try to. I did knock one out with my Golden Gloves, which was pretty fun. I then headed into Deadwind Cavern, where another unique was, but I wouldn't be getting the unique here. Not because, you know, I didn't know where it is or anything like that. It's just, I'm so underleveled and I don't have great armor that these Deathclaws are just incredibly hard. Like, I cannot get past them right now, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to come back at a later date. I did clear out a little bit of it, but I just didn't have, like, enough stim packs or anything like that. So I decided I'm going to go get some other weapons, and I'll come back to that later. So with that being said, I just headed over to go get another weapon, which I did plan on getting the minigun. So the minigun was over in this direction. However, I didn't actually end up getting the minigun because I just kept dying from Cazadors and things along that trail. So, you know what? I decided I'm going to head back to the tops. We're going to do a bit of gambling, make a bit of money. So I headed over to the tops, and we made about 10,000 caps gambling, which would bankroll a lot of my future investments, buying me a bunch of ammo, and I just bought some really good armor. I I basically spent all my money just getting my DT up with my armor, and yeah, I probably could have spent less money, but it was a pretty good investment, so I would say it was a pretty good investment actually. So with that, I had everything I thought that I needed, and it was time to go towards getting another unique item. Now, for my 15th unique, what I decided to do was go to Camp Searchlight, where I'd find the Holy Frag Grenades. Now, this is truly the reason why I need Wild Wasteland, is the Holy Frag Grenades. Because if I don't have Wild Wasteland, you can't get these, there's no replacement item for it. If I don't have Wild Wasteland, then it's just one less unique that I cannot get, so that's why I did do Wild Wasteland. I then headed over to Nelson, where I would be getting my 16th unique item from Dead Sea here, and yeah, I just kind of exploded him and had to kill a couple Legion soldiers in this area. Not too hard, I mean, I wasn't super underleveled at this point, so I was able to kill them pretty easily. Now, I'm gonna be honest, after killing all of these Legion soldiers, I don't know why, but okay, maybe it's a glitch or something, because the recruit legionary here had the Liberator on him, which is supposed to be Dead Sea's like item or whatever, but I don't know why it was just sitting on this recruit legionary, so I don't know, but I grabbed it. That's my 16th unique. I then headed over to another cavern to grab my 17th unique, which was another unarmed weapon, and added to that whole section. So I had to kill a couple Nightkin here, but I was luckily able to grab my 17th weapon, which was the Paladin Toaster, which is found on a prospector just sitting in this cave. Now on to the 18th, because we are going to start flying through these again, and it was on the Nightkin Sniper. A lot of people already know about this one. It's the unique rocket launcher. Honestly, I think a lot of people who play Fallout New Vegas, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people do just use this instead of a normal rocket launcher. I know I do. I didn't really know where to get a rocket launcher besides this unique. So that's where I got the 18th unique, which is on Black Mountain from the Nightkin Sniper. And yep, this one was pretty easy to get, honestly. Then it is on to the 19th unique. Now, you already know this unique I got luckily because Little Buster was sleeping, so I just hit him with a super sledge when no one saw, and I got the cram opener. And yep, pretty easy. Now it was on to a unique I had actually never heard of, and it was the Humble Cudgel. Now a lot of these uniques I hadn't actually heard of, like a lot of the unarmed ones I never had heard of, but this is one in a location I had actually like basically never been. So this one was truly like fully new to me. There was just a random prospector here with a lead pipe called the Humble Cudgel. I don't know, weird, just weird, but cool, I guess. I then put in more points into science because I had to have 50 science to get all the uniques. You'll see what I'll use the science skill for later, but just know I needed 50 science to get everything that I needed. And with that and the perks that I picked, everything was good in the sewers, and I could head on to getting my 21st unique. Now, before that, I decided to start doing the quest for Red Lucy again, because I did need to advance it at some point, so I decided, you know what, might as well just go back to doing this quest and just get this done a little bit. So that's what I did here. I went to kill some Rad Scorpions and grab some Rad Scorpion eggs. I did that with the sniper rifle and my super sledge, so overall pretty easy. I mean, these are two really good weapons, so these Rad Scorpions, not too much of a issue to deal with. So I grabbed the Rad Scorpion eggs, and that part was pretty good. And I headed over to get my 21st unique, which was actually on the way to Red Lucy, so it worked out in the end to grab the next part of the quest. It was Vance's 9mm SMG, which is just a cool SMG. So with that, I went back to Red Lucy, turned in my quest, and got the next part of the quest, which was to grab some Fire Gecko eggs. Now, for this part was, again, pretty easy. I just wanted to progress through this quest as quickly as possible, you know, get through it pretty quickly. Now, I did test out the 9mm SMG, and I'm not sure if it's just me, but like, it might just be the SMG is this much better, because I think this thing was just shooting like way quicker than any other 9mm SMG I'd used in this game. So, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that SMG is just crazy good. So with that, I put my gun skill up after I leveled up and just put some more skill points in after all that. Got the Fire Gecko eggs, went back to Red Lucy, turned that in, and got the next part of the quest, which was to kill some Night Stalkers. And I decided for this, I'm probably just going to put this off by a little bit and go ahead and start getting my next unique. Now, for my 22nd unique, I went back to somewhere I had originally was trying to go, but didn't make it. It's over in this area. There's a lot of centaurs, and it's on like the far east of the map, and you can find a crazy good minigun here. The C7 or CZ57 Avenger, or whatever it is. This thing just absolutely destroyed any enemy it came into contact with. The only downside was getting the 5mm ammo, which honestly isn't much of a downside if you go buy stuff from the NCR. So, yeah. Speaking of the NCR, I went over to Camp McCarran to go get my next unique, which was an M1 Garand. Now, to do this, this is where the 50 science skill actually comes in handy. Basically, you have to go to the NCR supply shack, and you gotta look through this guy's like data manifest or his whole like logs and all that, and basically just see where weapons are going, see if he's like stealing any and doing anything with that. And then you have to go report his activities to the lieutenant in Camp McCarran, and you get a really, really, really good M1 Garand. So that was the 23rd unique. So yep, with that, that is everything good in the NCR. Now, with that being the last thing that I need from the NCR, and the last thing I need to be in good favor with them, it was time to absolutely ruin their favor. So I threw a holy hand grenade, blew myself up, and then decided to just use rockets. So I had to kill Corporal Sterling here, and he had a unique cowboy repeater, which was really, really good. And that was my 24th unique. So I then went to go get my 25th unique, which is, of course, from Driver Nafai. It's his golf club. I had to clear out a couple fiends. Now, with the M1 Garand I got from the NCR, very, very easy to clear out a lot of enemies very quickly, because it was a really good one-shot weapon, I gotta admit. So, very, very good find there, and good unique to grab. So, that's my 25th unique. I stopped by Gomorrah and just did a bit of gambling there, because I need to get more money. I was running out of a lot of caps. You know, I already spent 10k caps pretty quickly. Yeah, I spend caps pretty quickly. So I stopped by the Tops while I was on the strip to grab the 26th unique, which is the Maria from Benny. I don't know why, man. Everyone was just upset, so I had to, you know, talk to them respectfully with, you know, brass knuckles, and then got out of the Tops there. I then got ambushed by the NCR, and, you know, they weren't very happy, you know, maybe because I might have blown up part of Camp McCarran, but, you know, I just ignored them. Yeah, they didn't start trying to kill me until hours later, so it didn't really matter. I then went to head over to get my 27th unique, which is a unique a lot of people are already familiar with, and I think if you already know where I'm at in this game, and you know this game, you already know what I'm getting. We're heading over to Lonesome Drifter, and for some reason, my shots weren't hitting him when I was in VATS with 95% chance to hit. So, you know, I just crouched to be hidden, and I grabbed quite possibly one of the most iconic uniques in the game, which was the Mysterious Magnum. I then stopped by the Repcon HQ to grab the Q35 Matter Modulator, and that's just a really good unique, and also my 28th unique, so really good find there. I then went over to start GI Blues because I needed to finish it to get another unique, which you'll see. And yep, just went through this quest much the same as any normal playthrough. I just had to go talk to Oris, you know, do this whole thing for the king, and then after doing this whole big section with him, I then got into the gunfight, which normally I would try to avoid, but I really don't care about the NCR in this playthrough, so you know, I'm just gonna shoot all of the NCR here. Yeah, so all the NCR ended up, you know, dying to a weapon that they gave me. So yeah, they shouldn't have been very nice to me, but you know, I gotta try out this weapon more, so hey, I'll say that's a win in my book. I gotta use this weapon a little bit more. I then went over to the king, told him that everything was basically fixed and it was the NCR, and after that he gave me the next quest, Nothing But a Hound Dog. Now I need this quest, I'm not gonna finish it. Basically I just need it because he gives me Rex, and then you have to go over to this field shack, and then Rex will be like, there's a well, and then you just look behind you and then a well like spawns while you're at the shack. Yeah, so it took me a minute to figure out where it was, and then it just spawned here. And that's when I got the next unique, my 29th unique, which was the BB gun. Now, this one is really good because the unique effect is basically, it has a insane like crit damage and crit chance. So this BB gun can basically kill Deathclaws. That's why it's really good. Now, after grabbing that, I basically told Rex to go back to the king. I mean, I could have kept it around, but I needed to get another companion, which you'll see later. I then headed over to Nellis Air Force Base, where I had to get my next unique, which was Thump Thump. Now, Thump Thump is a unique grenade launcher here, and it would be my 30th unique. So, honestly, I'm making great headway. Now, yeah, I didn't have all the uniques, and there was still a lot left over and a lot harder ones to get, so it was going to be a bit of an uphill battle from here. I then went back to the Deathclaw cave that I had previously avoided, and with the use of the super sledge, I was able to kill a legendary Deathclaw and grab Mercy, which is right next to a Dead Brotherhood's Paladin, and I was able to grab it, and it is just a really good grenade machine gun type of weapon. I then went over to the 188 trading post where I found Veronica. Now, I need Veronica just because I want to skip the Brotherhood like intro and all that you have to do for the quest. So I just have Veronica get me into the Brotherhood very quickly, and then I went over and spoke to basically a bunch of Brotherhood members in there, and I had to start a unmarked quest. So this unmarked quest is basically you have to retrieve a missing Brotherhood pistol. Now, yes, I'm going to be retrieving the missing Brotherhood pistol. Am I going to be giving it back to the Brotherhood? Probably not. Yeah, I'm not, because I need all the uniques, so I will not be giving this missing pistol back to the Brotherhood. I'll just be taking it. So for the 32nd unique, we are in this cave nearby Hidden Valley where we will be finding just a laser pistol that is titled Missing Laser Pistol. I have to kill a lot of Rad Scorpions here, but you know, after killing all of them, I did find it very easily. It is the Missing Laser Pistol, so pretty good find there. I then went back to Camp Searchlight because there's another unique that I have to get by doing part of this quest called Wheel of Fortune, which is basically you go throughout Camp Searchlight and you just take a bunch of NCR property and give it to this Logan guy, and then, you know, he's like, thanks man, That's basically the entire quest. Yeah, so I just had to run through this police station grabbing a bunch of stuff like NCR, grenade launchers, NCR, machine guns, pistols, radio parts, all that. And then I headed over to the fire station. And after that, in here was my next unique, which after killing a Red Scorpion Queen and going up the stairs in the building and going just all throughout the building, I found it. It is honestly, one of my favorite uniques, just because of how it looks and how it feels. It's another melee weapon called Knock Knock, which is a unique fire axe. Pretty cool weapon. I then went over to the Kings to grab my 34th unique, and I just made this guy do a flip and grabbed Figaro, which is a unique like kind of blade or whatever. I then went over, grabbed the Euclid Sea Finder really quickly. So yeah, a lot of uniques really quickly in a short space of time. So I was making great headway there. I then had to go do Bleed Me Dry a bit more. So this is kind of where you're going to see the pace of getting a unique is just going to be slowing down. It's because finding all these uniques, yes, it's going to be easy to find some of the easier uniques like this, but a lot of these later uniques are going to be locked behind very long quests, and that's what's going to make them hard to get. So I have to do Bleed Me Dry to get Dinner Bell, of course, and there's a couple other quests which you will see which are involved in getting me some other uniques. I then leveled up and just dispersed some more skill points into a bunch of different skills like melee and repair. I then took another tag skill and just put it in guns with my perk, and then I headed over back to Vault 22 to grab my 36th unique, which was the AER, which is a unique laser rifle, and with that was another unique. Now, this is another unique I talked about a long while ago. There's a unique hidden here in a level 100 lockpick, and it's a really cool unique just because you don't really see one of these unless you play Old World Blues usually, and it is a pulse gun. So this shows up in Old World Blues, or at least the model does. It's pretty cool. It's just another like bonus against robots weapons. So I then headed over to get my next unique. Now this one, just like some other uniques, this one's not really like a special quest, special NPC holding it. You just get this one for part of a quest. So, I mean, I got it here. It's the Van Graff laser rifle. And to keep it, because, okay, I wasn't sure if I did this mission, I would keep it fully. So, you know, I just kind of killed the Van Graffs. And, yeah, that's how I ended up keeping the Van Graff laser rifle. So, that's about 38 out of the 42 that I need. So, I'm very close. But you might notice that there is still a good chunk of time left in this video, and that's because the rest of these uniques, apart from this one that I'm about to get, which is going to be my 39th, are going to be very difficult to get. So for this unique, this is the Tesla cannon, and this one's very easy. You just go past Camp Searchlight and there's a crashed vertibird with it laying on the ground. So yeah, 39th, really easy to get. Now for the next ones, this is gonna be where it gets kind of difficult. And yeah, for my next one, which is going to be Dinner Bell, I have to first kill some Cazadors in Red Rock Canyon, grab their eggs, and then I have to bring these back to Red Lucy. Then after doing that, I have to go get some Deathclaw eggs. Now, I did think I would have to go to Quarry Junction for this, but I am glad that I didn't. Apparently, you can get it also from Deadwind Cavern, which I had already cleared out mostly. I think the enemies respawned. I might be because of the quest, but yeah, they definitely did respawn a couple of the enemies here, but it wasn't too hard. I grabbed the eggs there and then headed back, and I got Dinner Bell, my next unique weapon. So that is the 40th unique gained. We only got 2 left, but the last two took me a long time, and then I also thought there was a 43rd I could get, which you'll see what I mean. So after I leveled up, just putting some skills into more, just like evening out some skills, I went to go do a little bit of the main quest, which was just killing Mr. House, and then I had to basically just put Yes Man in charge of the entirety of New Vegas and Mr. House's computer. Now, this is where it starts. I have to collect a ton of Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle caps. I have to collect 50 of these to do the quest for the Legend of the Star. And I am not going to show you because it's like an hour of footage, so I cut this down a lot. But it was like an hour or two of just maybe an hour and a half, just me running around looking for all the star bottle caps I needed. I just ran around to a bunch of different locations, and I did eventually get all the bottle caps that I needed. Now, okay, this was my first time actually doing the Legend of the Star, so honestly, it wasn't too hard. You just had to get all the bottle caps. It was honestly just very time consuming to get. But yeah, the reward for doing this is another unique, which is called Pew Pew. Now, it's called that because, you know, when you shoot it, it shoots twice, and it sounds like, you know, pew pew. So, cool laser pistol. But yeah, it was a very long quest to get a single unique. Now, right here, this is where I made such a mistake. I didn't need to do this. I went to Old World Blues and did the entire DLC because I looked up at first if I can get the YCS, which is a unique Gauss rifle, and the Alien Blaster in the same playthrough. You literally can't. You need to have two different playthroughs, because even if you do what I thought I was going to do here, which I will show, so after I talked to Dr. Klein and did the whole intro to Old World Blues, I went over to the AutoDoc, which can allow you to assign new traits, so I decided to do Skilled and Trigger Discipline, which, you know, I don't have Wild Wasteland anymore, so I thought if I go back to it, it's going to spawn the Mercs, which will have the unique Gauss rifle that I need. So, I was completely wrong about this, which you'll see. I grabbed my stealth suit, and I actually don't use this thing a lot, and I didn't realize it talks to you. It's pretty cool, and it auto-injects stim packs. Really underrated armor set. I don't know if a lot of people use this, but I will say, really cool. But yeah, I did this entire DLC. I sped ran it pretty quickly. I killed the X-42 giant Robo Scorpion, so very fun DLC, just really quick. But yeah, I did this whole DLC, finished it, got to the end credits. I went over here, talked to Dr. Mobius. He told me about, you know, yeah, I'm not the bad guy, basically. And after talking to Dr. Mobius, I had to go talk to the brain tank, and then we had to go confront Dr. Klein after that. Now, Dr. Klein, all I had to do was kill him. It was pretty easy. I just ran at him with a super sledge. So yeah, not very difficult at all. But yeah, I did this entire DLC. This entire like hour long DLC. And I left through the doors, had to watch the entire cutscene, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing so good, I just did this whole thing, you know, very good, I can't wait to get the Gauss rifle. I head over to the place to get the Gauss rifle, and then I notice something when I get there. There is what looks to be a little spaceship there still. Keep in mind, I don't have Wild Wasteland, meaning the map auto-generates probably when you're in Doc Mitchell's house. So I realized, yeah, I probably wouldn't have been able to get it anyway. And yeah, I looked it up. You can't get the YCS and the Alien Blaster in the same playthrough. You have to have two separate playthroughs at least to get both of them. So I realized, yep, I can't get it, so I decided it's time to get the last unique that I can get, which is the Blade of the East, which of course you get from killing Legate Lanius. So I had to go to the second Battle of Hoover Dam, just basically go through it very quickly. I had really good weapons at this point and was really high level, so not too difficult. Usually I do this when I'm lower level, so like it really wasn't too difficult because I'm used to doing this at like such a lower level. It's usually a lot harder. So for Legate Lanius, I hit him a couple times with my sledgehammer and he was already dead. It wasn't even that hard. So yeah, it shows you how good melee is. Melee is really good in this game. So yeah, I kill him and then I finally grab my last unique, which is the Blade of the East. So luckily I got that. That is the last thing I have, but I'm not done yet. I need to talk to General Oliver, and I don't have any stim packs besides like a couple super stim packs. So I run behind a corner really quickly, and I have to let the Securitrons just, you know, they're fighting. So I run up and do kill General Oliver with my sledgehammer. And then with that, I head over, speak to Yes Man, and we have officially collected every base game unique weapon. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and peace.